Teo. He is a research fellow at the University of Cambridge. Victor, good to have you on the show. Let's start generally. I mean, Joshua Wong has said that freedom, privacy, and safety are no longer taken for granted in Hong Kong since this new law was implemented. Does he have a point? I mean, is there a fear among the people of Hong Kong that the human rights situation is deteriorating?
Well, I think all this is relative. Of course, compared to the Hong Kong pre-30th June of this year, the statement is kind of true. But having said that, I would say that about slightly somewhere more than 1/3 and less than half of Hong Kong people actually agree with the national security law. But there is also a substantial portion of people who are against it because they see it as a means whereby the Chinese government is actually extending the Chinese system into Hong Kong. So I think it really depends on who you ask in Hong Kong, but there are people who are really against the national security law, as well as there are people who supports it.
Okay, whatever the stance of Hong Kongers may be, the fact of the matter is that there have been some violent protests going on in the territory, police cracking down on these protesters. Some would argue that there is a need to stamp out the chaos of anti-government protests. I mean, do Hong Kongers support these types of actions?
I think by and large, most people support the protests, but at the same time, they do not support the kind of violence that we have been seeing in 2019. Therefore, I think the argument cuts both ways. To a certain extent, I think today's the latest thing that we are talking about is the bring to court of these activists who held who came together to have a vigil over the Tiananmen Square incident. So this incident is largely peaceful, but they're in court because they broke the law, because the police had actually told the organizers this year that this event is actually not allowed, and the organizers went ahead and do it this. So this is a bit controversial for a lot of people because this event has been held annually since 1989, since the Tiananmen Square incident of 1989. And I think this is the first time the police are disallowing it. But having said that, there are other issues which are also contemporaneously happening. That is the, if you like, the arrest of the 12 people who were trying to escape to Taiwan via the sea routes. And the Hong Kong people, as well as the Chinese government and the US government, are actually arguing about the situation. And I think there's a lot of concern by what's going to happen to the 12 people who are currently in Chinese government's custody.
Okay. I mean, breaking the law in any country is going to bring some consequences. You mentioned the 12 people. Let's talk about that. The issue of extradition to mainland China was really sort of a rallying point for these anti-Beijing protests. And as we know, under the new law, people can be sent to the mainland for trial. I mean, is this a possibility for the accused in the case, especially the ones that we're seeing going over to Taiwan or into China? What would be the reaction to this?
Well, it depends on who you ask, really. I think about now, the 12 people in custody are probably thinking or changing their mind about the existence of extradition law. Remember, this whole thing in 2019 started because the Hong Kong activists were staunchly against any sort of extradition between, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China. They are staunchly. So right now, these 12 people are in the custody of the Chinese government. And, I don't think the new national security law says anything about having Hong Kong people extradited back to, who are arrested in mainland, extradited back to Hong Kong. It's really the other way around. The new national security law says things about people being arrested in Hong Kong for national security offenses and being extradited to China for trial. So of course, the activists are, as well as the parents and the relatives of the people who have been arrested, are desperate to get these 12 people back in Hong Kong. But right now, I think the Hong Kong government is saying that, well, this is there are two separate issues. Number one, these people are trying to abscond, if you like, from the trial that is being held in Hong Kong for them, and that's why they were running to Taiwan. And then at another level, these people contravened the law on, if you like, breaking the law, in terms of leaving Hong Kong and leaving China to go to Taiwan. So they have been arrested by the mainland Chinese for immigration offense, I think. So the Hong Kong government is saying that these 12 people have to be accountable to the mainland Chinese government first for this new set of offense before they could come back to Hong Kong to answer for the charges related to the riots.
Okay.
And
Victor
of
Tao,
course,
we're going to
yeah.
help leave it there. Thank you very much for your analysis.